be able to make the changes that I want, like for my own goals, just being able to like have the right motivations and not do it for, I guess, the wrong reasons.
Welcome to ActiveCast, a podcast about exercise and training for gamers, streamers, and people with sedentary jobs. I'm your host, Marcus, or Fahloin as a handle on Twitch and other platforms. In this episode, we will talk to WoahhJess, who is a US streamer. She streams a variety of games, but specializes on simulation, strategy, and management games. Jess has an interesting backstory, and she talks a lot about the connection between mental and physical health. The relation between those two are incredibly tight. She talks about how she needs to structure her exercise to even get it done, and how to do it even when motivation is not there. She tells us how she uses scheduling and a journal to maintain the routine. So let's listen to what Jess has to share with us. Hi Jess, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. As I already told you, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah,
and
that's all
sleepy.
good.
I have my coffee.
Yeah,
How are you?
It's morning for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's early
First
evening.
thing in the morning.
Yeah, first thing in
Yeah.
the morning. I appreciate that. But welcome to ActiveCast, to the podcast about exercise and training for streamers and gamers and people who sit still a lot. It's nice to have you here. But let's start this off by talking a little bit about yourself. So promote yourself. What are you doing? Where can we find you? It's the worst.
Yeah, people say they like talking about themselves, but
yeah, you should promote yourself. Like what is like Twitch and stuff and Twitter and so.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm WoahhJess, Woah_Jess on Twitch and on Twitter. I'm pretty sure. On YouTube though, there's no underscore. And so those are my three main platforms: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and I'm a full-time content creator, specializing in strategy, simulation, and management variety, kind of.
Variety, kind of. Okay.
Yeah, I tend to like hone in on a game for a few streams and variety, kind of.
Yeah, that's good. And I will put the like the links and stuff in the show notes of the show. So with a WoahhJess,
That sounds
with
good.
an underscore or not. So
yeah, it's not consistent.
it's all good. I mean, sometimes it's hard to get the right nickname or the handle because they're taken and stuff. So
yeah, there's someone out there who has my handle, and I asked very nicely if she would give it to me, and she's like, no.
How rude. Yeah, but I think that happens to a lot of people today. Okay, so that's nice. So Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. Those are your main, or that's where you are. We can find you, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you can also like find me around on Discord and whatnot. But yeah, those are the three places where I publish content.
Yeah, so the main things. That's good. That's also where I met you the first time, through Twitch. Yeah. So this podcast is about exercise and movement and training and the thoughts about that in a perspective from a streamer or a gamer or a people who sit still a lot, basically. So do you do any exercise?
I do. Yes.
Tell me about it, or tell us about it.
Well, it's like yes and no.
Okay.
So, I mean, well, this is actually like a very loaded conversation. And so like I'm not really sure where to start. where to start in the whole thing. Like
can you tell me about
I guess
a background? You can start with maybe a background.
Yeah, I think that would be good. So wow, I even like prepared some notes, and now I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
That's okay.
So I don't know. I guess I can talk about my like health history a little bit because it does inform a lot of my decisions.
Yeah.
Like now in my life. So when I was a teenager, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism. So I actually have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is a autoimmune condition. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've heard the name, but I don't know what it is. So it's good if you explain a little bit for me and the listeners what it
Yeah,
is.
sure.
Yeah.
There's different types of hypothyroidism that can arise for different reasons, but this one is the autoimmune version, which basically means my body is like attacking my own thyroid gland, which is leading to it being deficient. So this started as a teenager, and as I've gotten older, it's like I've had to continue to work with it, and I have to supplement thyroid hormone basically.
Yeah.
And your thyroid regulates like everything in your body. So this causes a lot of issues for me with like energy levels and metabolism and just everything really. But those, in the scope of this podcast, those two things are like really what's most affected for me. I was also recently diagnosed with ADHD, which is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
That's an ongoing thing. But having been diagnosed has been actually helping me develop my workout routine like very recently and everything, and like starting to work with my own brain in ways that are more conducive to forming routines and habits. So that's been nice, I guess.
Yeah. I've heard that from a lot of people that get the diagnosis ADHD, that it's when they know that it's way easier for them to start working with it, both physically and mentally.
Totally. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like again, this is not really under the scope of this podcast, but having been diagnosed has been so helpful because it's like suddenly I have a lot of explanations for like behaviors and tendencies that I used to think were like my own problems, like things that were wrong with myself. And I mean, I guess they still kind of are, but like I know it's a brain difference now.
Yeah.
And so I can build strategies around that.
Yeah. So how do you connect that with the physical part? Because the mental part and the physical part, they are super tightly linked. Like always. It's so when it comes to the physical exercises, because I guess like you have some mental exercises for the ADHD, but so if you go into the exercising in the workout part.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think that physical health and mental health are like just tightly linked and they can't be separated. And so I kind of have struggled in more recent times with my physical health for a few reasons. Like before the pandemic, I had a gym routine. Like I would go climbing. I did a lot of rock climbing, and having that routine and sort of accountability of a gym membership and people to go to the gym with was very helpful for me to like stay on track. But then as the pandemic happened, suddenly I was home a lot. And before the pandemic, I wasn't streaming either. Like I came back to full-time content creation as a result.
As a result of the pandemic?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I didn't like lose my job, but I also didn't really want to continue doing my job.
Okay.
Like under the, I guess the environment that I was working in, like people weren't really taking it very seriously, and there was still a lot of pandemic denial, you know?
All right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, this isn't really worth it to me. I'm going to go back to doing this. And so that's been a few years now, but it's been great. But as a result, like I suddenly became really sedentary. I also was experiencing some issues with my thyroid condition, and I was unable to visit a doctor because of the pandemic. And so like my medication was not sorted. It got all out of whack, and like I also didn't have my gym membership anymore. And so it ended up with leading to me gaining a lot of weight. And so at the same time, I was also like starting to like really focus on my mental health. And so like I've talked about this before on stream, but like also like seeing a therapist, and like since then I've also been diagnosed with ADHD. So like I'm on medication for that now. And so really for me, the biggest thing has been the mental health.
Yeah.
And improving my mental health.
So when you stopped going to the gym because of the pandemic, you started to stream full time, which meant that you were being still a lot more because you didn't go to
Mm-hmm.
work and so on. And you also said that your mental health degraded a little bit when that happened. I mean, it happened to a lot of people, but do you see the connection, or is there a connection between you stop the training, going to the gym and do the rock climbing, and being more sedentary and feeling that your thyroid got, you said the medicine got all whacked and so on? Could that be I don't know if you can answer that, but what are your thoughts about that?
Well, so actually, like I had been through a really, really, really bad time, like prior to returning to streaming, which was honestly like my lowest point with my mental health. And like, that's actually what prompted me to like go start talking to a therapist. And I would actually say that my mental health improved during the pandemic.
All right. Yeah, that's fair.
Conversely to a lot of people, because as it happens, I'm like really happy working from home a lot. And like Solentre also started working from home, and we've been able to like kind of build a life around working from home. And so it's just the best. Like I love it. I'm such an introvert.
I agree on that.
I'm happy being home like all the time, hanging out with myself. So that's been great. And then combined with like therapy and just a lot of mindfulness, like I've picked up meditation, mindfulness, and I've just really, really been focusing on improving mental health. And it's made such a difference. Like to get back to your original question, I think. Like I said, I have ADHD, so I've already forgotten the initial question.
Yeah, but if you do exercise and what you do, if you do physical exercise, it's all good.
Yeah, I have to say, like, just improving my mental health has really made so much more of a difference and made it so much easier for me to exercise and like be okay with where I'm at physically and like be able to make the changes that I want, like for my own goals, and just being able to like have the right motivations and not do it for, I guess, the wrong reasons.
Yeah. So what is your motivation?
Really, I mean, obviously, I want to live a healthy life, but I really want to reach a point where I can just live, I guess, my ideal lifestyle, reach a point where my mental and physical health align, where I can be happy and proud of my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal. So I do a lot of physical exercise, not very consistently because I have such a hard time.
Hard time to doing it?
Schedule. No, not doing it, starting. The hardest part's starting.
So to schedule it in, to get it into a routine. Yeah. So that's something that a lot of people struggle with. It's also the hardest part of exercising and training. It's starting to keep it consistent and get it into the routine. Because when you have it as a routine, then it's kind of easy.
Well, that's why it was like so nice with the gym membership before, because I would go to classes. I had I had people I would climb with, like go rock climbing with, but then I also would be able to go to yoga classes and go to like Pilates or strength classes and just have that accountability of a space and a time and an instructor. And I don't have that anymore. So now I have to take that on.
Yeah. So can you not go back to the gym again, to like a climbing gym or a yoga class? Or
I mean, I could, but at this point I've like kind of built a tool set around training myself, and I kind of just want to work on building my own accountability or keeping myself accountable. So like I do yoga, I walk, I try to hike, but sometimes my workload gets a little bit too full and I neglect my workouts.
So
I forget.
So you do walks and you do yoga, and those are the things you're doing for exercise.
I also have a rowing machine that we bought. So I do rowing. Like last night, I did some rowing, and so I do yoga. I do strength exercises here. Like, so I
with your body, or do you have any?
Yeah, body weight, and I also have weights and kettlebells and stuff.
All right, kettlebells, yes. We talked about so some episodes ago I talked to Kiri, to the Kiri that you know very well. She also has a rowing machine, and it's a fantastic thing to have. It's a super nice piece of equipment. And in the first episode we talked to Kian, who is a physiotherapist who focuses on esports and gamers, and like his advice is to get a jumping rope or skip rope and get a kettlebell. And then you're set. So
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the rowing machine though, because I can like watch TV and do it. Mm-hmm. And so like Solentry and I take turns. Like we'll watch some anime, and he'll do it for an episode, then I'll do it for an episode. And we're like, we did it.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a really way. That's a good way to do it also, because then you and your partner can get together and do something, and you get the exercise in there, and you can hold each other accountable for it. That's great.
So we do yoga together too. Like we've got like our like yoga YouTubers that we really like to watch, and so we'll do that, and we do the strength exercises together, and we walk together. I mean, like the only person that actually that's not so true anymore. I was gonna say the only person I ever see is Solentry.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, he's my workout partner.
Yeah.
My partner in more than one thing, but we're definitely workout buddies.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But I can't forget my dog. My dog, yeah, he's also my workout buddy.
Yeah, dogs are good for that. You need to go out and have a walk. Yeah.
Every day.
They force you to do that. Yeah. They're really good at that. So okay, so your motivation is to like, to feel good and be healthy, and your goal, I would say that it is to get your physical and mental health in a place where you feel content with your lifestyle. Was that what you said? Yeah. Yeah,
just I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, that's good.
Sounds about right.
Sounds right. So if you when you struggle with motivation, do you struggle with motivation to go to you do that? You struggle with motivation, or is it only the time aspect of it? You said that you cannot, because your work schedule gets too heavy, so you don't get the workout in. Is it always that, or is it also as like motivation, as like, oh my god, I don't want to do it today?
Well, I think that's just a really big web, I would say, because like since being diagnosed with ADHD, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just like all executive dysfunction. Like being able to set a schedule, being able to stick to it and keep the routine. It's like all things that people with ADHD don't do well.
Yeah, I know.
So like I forget sometimes, not because I want to forget. I just forget that it's on my schedule. Like I struggle with the organization, the attention, and like then also the motivation. So to me, it's like a win when I actually get it done. That's the biggest thing that I would love to be able to improve is my consistency.
Yeah.
But that's sort of where I struggle like against my own brain, is because I have so much all the time. Like it's like having 50, I saw this, I guess the metaphor, like having 50 channels on in your brain at once. And like just sometimes I just forget. Like the other day I had a plan to go and do some yoga and just went to bed and was like, oh no, I just completely forgot.
I forgot, yeah. That's fair. I've heard that from a lot of people. But do you have any strategies, or do you talk to your therapist about that? How you could put up strategies to get it into a routine? Oh, okay. We can't really see it. It's a journal. Yeah. Okay, so for the listeners in the podcast who don't see the YouTube or so on, you're showing a book which is a journal.
Yeah, it's a bullet journal.
It's a bullet journal. Okay, so can you in words describe how that works, or what you do?
Yes. So I saw this as a recommendation from like some experts in the ADHD community as a way to help organize your life. And so I gave it a try, and I've been doing this now for maybe 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried all different things. Basically, what I do is I outline week by week,
Yeah.
which I haven't done. No, I did do this week. Definitely not Friday, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But I outline week by week.
Yeah.
And so I have started using this, and by building my outline every week, instead of having it built for me, like I actually have to draw it, and I've been coming up with different workflows
Yeah.
for me that like are very conducive to me getting my work done, but then also balancing my personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to repeat things a lot, like move things from week to week. And I've started actually like writing in my schedule for workouts.
All right.
So I literally just do this week by week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have like, is it one page is 1 week, and then you put bullets there, what you are going to do, and you do that like 1 page for every week?
I do 2 pages.
All right.
So like,
yeah,
the left and the right side. Mm-hmm. And so I will like break it down by, I think I decided to start on Sundays, mm-hmm. because I work Sunday through Friday.
Yeah.
So like Saturday is my day off. So mm-hmm. I start on Sunday, and I'll do like Sunday, or like I'll do a category where I import from the previous week.
Yeah.
And then I'll do like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and like Friday, Saturday, mm-hmm. and then things to move over or be aware of for the next week.
Yeah.
And then on the weekend, like on a Friday or Saturday, I'll draw out the next week and shift things over into the import category. Mm-hmm. And like this is where I like put down the date of the week, the date itself, and then things that like I want to be aware of that I want to do on these days.
Yeah.
So like I have like on Monday I'll do yin yoga, on Tuesday it's a rest day, Wednesday it's like a vinyasa yoga, Thursday is going to be strength exercise or cardio, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And so like just seeing it and writing it is just like just repetitive.
Yeah.
And it just gets it in my brain.
And that's how you build a routine.
Yes, but because it doesn't work on my phone. Like electronic notifications do nothing for me.
Yeah, I am the same. I'm going to show you, because now I'm showing also for the YouTube. But I also have this journal. I do the exact same thing. Otherwise I cannot. There's like, I also have like 50 channels open in my head all the time. So I really need to like, I do it exactly the same way you do it. I put down the bullets for the day, and then I have a square that where these I need to move to the next day, and it's like I'll outline it like that.
It's so useful.
It is, and I think it's a very good. I think you put up a very good example how you can structure and get a good routine in. Either you have ADHD or not. I mean, a lot of people who don't have that also struggles with the motivation to get the things into a routine. I mean, I'm not diagnosed with it, but I still do it, and I need to do it. So that's a very good advice from you. So how often per week do you do some kind of exercise?
It totally varies.
Yeah.
Because I have such a hard time sticking to my routine. Yeah. But in an ideal week, probably about 5 days per week, or 5 days per week. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So but this includes like a lot of I mean yin yoga. I don't know if you know what this is, but it's like
it's a kind of yoga.
Yeah, it's a kind of yoga, but it's much more focused on like stretching,
yeah,
or like holding a position for a really long time. So it's like very restorative, and also involves a lot of meditation.
Yeah.
So it's like very good for me to like actually just like calm down a little bit,
yeah,
and actually be able to tune in and like feel things physically rather than like just have my brain going all the time.
Yeah.
So it's for me like a really, really good way to relax. So I try to do that twice per week, and I've been working on that now for like about a month, mm-hmm. like building that, and then also trying to do like more of an active yoga. I just really like yoga.
Yeah, I mean, yoga is brilliant. It's a really, really good exercise.
I it's so much about it is so good for me. Just like,
yeah,
I don't know, just with the way my brain is.
And it's also
And
really
then
good to combine different kinds of yoga. Like you said, Yin yoga, so that is very mental and very like calming. And then there are, I forgot the name now, but the more physical one. I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't remember the name now. But there are more physical ones. There are more on strength and like holding a position for a long time. It's a real workout. So it's a really yoga. It's really good.
The one I'm most familiar with besides yin would be vinyasa, which is like a lot of flows, like moving between poses. But in addition to that, I also do try to like have my time on with the rowing machine, and I go for near daily walks. And I also have my Fitbit, and I never managed to make enough steps. But
they're so mean to you.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think it's a win just to like get out and do stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, it's better to get out and do stuff than just sitting inside. For sure. Does your Fitbit, while you brought that up, do you do any like monitoring of your workouts? Do you write down somewhere, or do you like so you can go back and see how you did? Or
it does monitor that. Like I have it set to do like automatic workout recognition. So like it automatically records when I go walking. And so it can keep track of that sort of thing. And it also will keep track of like when my heart rate gets elevated, and it can tell that I've done a workout.
Yeah.
But I can also like tell it that I'm working out. I don't do the best job of tracking that. I've like tried to come up with like a monthly tracker in my bullet journaling, but the problem is I don't remember to like flip backwards in it. I only flip forwards.
Yeah. So you as a person don't follow up what you have measured.
No,
I'm the same. I monitor every time I run. I measure it with my watch because I want to see how long I've been running. I've never looked at anything back. It's like, I mean, some people get really motivated from that. That's why I'm asking it. But it doesn't seem like that's your motivator.
No. It's gotta be like just immediate gratification.
Yeah.
That's the ADHD brain, you know, like long-term goals mean like nothing.
It's right here and
they
now.
don't. Yeah.
I mean, people say you should seize the day and live in the now. It's like, yeah. But so you said a little bit about that you went to you went to the climbing gym before? Have you done that for a long time? Is that something or do you have you made any sports or something like that as when you were younger or so? Do you have a foundation?
Yeah, so I as a kid played soccer, football. I did that like all the way up until high school, and then in high school I played field hockey, I played lacrosse, I ran track. But this was also around the time where I developed my thyroid condition, and I was very active and very fit, and it was just like a complete like overturn of this because like suddenly my Fitbit is like, hey, it's time to start streaming. So it was like a complete change because I went from having like so much energy, like a great metabolism. I just, as a kid, I ate everything, like just all junk food, had like no sort of structure in my life with healthy eating or anything. And then it's just like, boom, one day I woke up and was just like, suddenly I gained a bunch of weight. I was so cold. Like my like playing got really hard and difficult. I felt sluggish, and I went from being like a starter on like the varsity team to like basically being benched, being like I didn't understand why I felt so sick and stuff.
Was that like a switch, like from the day to wow, that's.
I mean, it wasn't like it was maybe over the course of a month.
Wow, that's really
and like
fast.
And so I ended up gaining like I want to say like 20 pounds in the course of a month, and it was like the middle of summer and I was outside like in sweaters and stuff, like why am I so cold? Just like sitting in the sun, like I need warmth. And so, yeah, I went to the doctor, found out that it was a thyroid thing.
Yeah. So,
But I
was that this like you becoming a teen, or was it like? This is very personal. You don't have to answer this, of course. But was it like connected to puberty or the switch there?
I don't really know. Like I've talked to doctors about this, and it's like kind of people don't really know why it happens. I mean, it's genetic. Like there's some genetic elements. There's also environmental triggers that can cause it to happen. And so like this thyroid condition does run in my family. Um, so like the hypothesis is that it could have just been like a I don't know, like just a bad series of events that caused it to trigger, or it just was going to happen anyway.
Yeah. So it did affect your training back then, like your sports. You went from being very active and being on the team and stuff, and then not being active and being benched, as you said, and so on. Do you feel that now too, when you got the medicine going and you got it under control and got to know what it was? Does the condition affect your ability to do exercises, or you could be? I mean, you're not. You could be very active again. You are active now, but
I don't necessarily know that. Well, I think it's a lot of things affecting the difference in lifestyle, but it definitely affected me then. Like it was really hard for me, like as a teenager, to kind of process going through that. And I also felt like very targeted, like just like, why is the universe doing that? Just like, why me? That kind of thing. But like, yeah, I just kind of fell out of it. I had like a lot of my teammates be like, what happened to you? Like you used to be so good and now you're just like, now you're not good at this stuff anymore. And so like it kind of affected me like with my confidence there.
Yeah.
But I just never really got back into team sports after that. And so that, honestly, that accountability of having a team and having a practice and a coach that like made you do all these things was so important for me to like actually reach what then was a peak fitness. And so I've like considered maybe trying to get back into like an adult league, but they're very like few and far between. And like I don't know, I'm also like I haven't played a team sport since high school. kind of scary, but I think really the biggest thing that probably gets in the way is more so than the thyroidism. Hypothyroidism is probably the ADHD. I mean, I've pretty much gotten the thyroid condition under control.
Yeah.
I mean, like I never have felt like I did before getting like becoming sick with hypothyroidism, but I don't feel like it holds me back as much.
Okay, so that's good then, because I know I don't know how common it is, but I hear it quite often. People who have that condition. So it's but I never.
It is pretty common.
Yeah, I think it's pretty common, but I've never like thought about or made any research or anything on how it affects people's ability to exercise. But I have a feeling that it does not if you have a control over it.
I mean, that's like sort of an ongoing area of investigation, I would say, like in research, but it does kind of lead. I mean, like for the rest of my life, I have to take hormone supplements, and so if I go through like a change in my own body, where like my hormones change, or like just living life, I always have to like be taking blood tests and adjusting my hormones. And if things get out of whack, it like is a very quick spiral into just like I guess a bad place, like mentally, physically, like it's just very, very quickly like can come crashing down. And so I have really been trying to like stay on it. As I've gotten older, I was very neglectful in my 20s, and so it's gotten that like important to me to
Yeah.
like stay on top of it.
But it's also, I think it's, I mean, I'm really glad to hear that because you have come back to exercising, and because you're doing a lot of walks and you're doing a lot of yoga, and 5 times a week is kind of a lot. It's a really good
It's my
thing.
goal.
Yeah, I mean, but even if you don't, if you do half of that or less than half, then you do two times a week. It's still good because you're doing something. So
Yeah, I guess I do actually. If you count walking, like I take my dog for like 1 to 2 miles a day.
Yeah.
I do that daily, but I don't really consider walking to be like exercise. I try to actually like incorporate other variety into my schedule.
But I would say that walking for some people it's exercise, since if they're not moving otherwise.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm
But
like after I stream and stuff, it's like it's so nice.
Yeah, but since you are doing like row machines and you have the kettlebell and you have your yoga, so okay, so it's maybe not an exercise, but it's still movement, so it still helps you. So I think I would say that. But so it's for you it's very important to have the accountability. That's very clear because you had the coach and the team, and then you had the climbing gym with you, the people you climbed with, and so on. And now you have Salantre that helps you a little bit, like when you're rowing and so on together. But
I think it's more me helping him.
Okay, all right. But still, you can do it to each other. But do you use, because this is something I've talked about with others too, and some people they tell me the streamers they use like they use Discord and so on to have their community. They write in their Discord, today I'm going to do this exercise, and then they feel like they cannot skip it because but do you use your community in that way, or do your community talk about it? Because in our communities on as streamers we have a lot of gamers and other streamers.
No, I don't really actually. I've wanted to incorporate that more, but I don't really know how.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I've tried having these conversations, but I don't know, maybe like I myself am not very consistent with it. And like that's not really something that's ever gained a footing in my community.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that could be helpful. I could definitely see how that would be useful.
I mean, I might throw rocks in glasses houses here now, but gamers are notoriously against moving. No, I'm harsh, but it's sometimes it's really hard. I've tried also, and it is hard. A lot of people struggle with motivation, and most people want to do it, but they struggle with motivation, or they can't get it into routine. So it is hard to get going. But I know some people manage to do it quite well in their communities, and they use that as accountability also. That's why I'm asking if you can use them as an accountability thingy. But maybe
that's a pretty good idea, actually. That's a pretty good idea for accountability.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do that sometimes when I have a period where I cannot get out, and because I do most of my training outside, I do like rock climbing and running, trail running, and so on. But when I can't do it, I start like getting active in my training channel in Discord, and then people are like asking me, and I was like, oh, dang it, I need to do it. Or when I do this podcast, I need to train myself because I cannot talk to all you people about it, and I don't do it myself. It's like, so I put myself out there. So, but if you do it, let me know how it works out. Do it. All right, I think we need to wrap up a little bit, but so you have one thing that I think a lot of people could take with them from this conversation is I think the bullet point journal is a really good way to build a routine. And it seems
I mean it's been very helpful for me. There's tons of different ways that you can make them. Like if you just look up like bullet journaling, like there's tons of very aesthetic designs that people publish, and then just I have tried week to week. I don't plan monthly, just week to week. And so if I don't like something, I just change it next week. Like this didn't work for me, this worked, and I've just have started just building my own structure for like how I can remember to do things. It's not perfect, but
I mean, and that's, oh my God, there are some really, really nice bullet points out there. The aesthetics, some people are crazy creative. But I think that is like a key is that it might be perfect for you, but it might, if someone else look at it, it might be not perfect for them, because I think this is very individual how that works. I also do it weekly. I cannot do it monthly. Some people do it monthly. So yeah.
there's currently a cat on my desk.
Hey, I see the tail. So I have two questions for you that
Okay.
I ask everyone, and I know they are super easy to answer. So, so the two questions are: what is your favorite exercise to do? And the other question is: which is your favorite game to play?
I hate favorites questions.
I mean, it's very hard to say. So I don't like favorites, but what if you have something that you like? This I really
Okay. Well, I would say my favorite exercise is if I want to be outside hiking.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoy hiking. I love like being out in nature and like smelling the things and hearing the things. But that one is a little bit more difficult because it involves the step of leaving the house.
Yeah.
If I want to be home, yoga.
Yoga.
It's the easiest thing. Like you just get started. That's the hardest part. And it's not as mentally challenging as like I have to do cardio or I have to do a strength exercise. It's just like I just need to chill and do some yoga.
Yeah.
That's
Do you have like a post that you really like?
I follow like a few different yoga YouTubers, but the one that has got me most involved is Yoga with Adriene.
Yeah.
She's not as active on YouTube anymore because I think she's focusing more on her like app. But she's got so many years of content built up on YouTube that it's just like endless. I've been using her now for like 5 or 6 years maybe.
Yeah. I've heard others using her too. Can you send me a link to her YouTube so we can link it to the show notes?
Yes.
That could be good.
Sure.
Since you say she's good, we can do that.
I that's who I use like for the more like active yoga, but like I also have like a channel that I tend to go to for yin, but it's a much more like mindfulness / meditative channel, and so it's very different. But that one is the bare female, which is, I guess would also maybe be considered like a sensual channel. That one is probably not for everybody, but like for me, I find it really helpful for like my cat is
cat is messing with the mic.
Yes.
Yeah. But if you can send me those two links to those two channels, I can put them in the show notes if you're okay with that. So your favorite game then? Oh my God.
I don't really have a favorite game. Like I just, my mood changes from day to day, and like a new game comes out. It's like probably also an ADHD thing.
But you have one game that is like your cat right now. But you have one game that like that pops out. Like I have the Long Dark. It always pops up in my head.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All the mic noises.
Cat issues.
Gosh, I don't have one. I think I can tell you a genre though, like strategy and simulation management genres. Like I'm really all about it. Like I don't have a particular game that I'm just like I need to play this.
Can you say like some games in that genre that you like?
Let me open Steam. one of my favorite games, I guess.
Such a streamer and gamer.
Oh my gosh, my cat! Leave me alone. Oh no, I have to Steam. I have to log in. Some of my favorite games, I guess, in the past few years, probably Crusader Kings 3.
Oh yeah, you play that a lot. That's true.
Yeah, I really like that one. RimWorld, I mean, not so much anymore. I've kind of burnt out on it.
You have like 6,000 hours in that, right?
No, like 2 or 3.
1,000, okay. But those
Oh my
are too
God.
good. Crusader Kings 3 and RimWorld. I mean,
Yeah.
there you have your. That's kind of what I'm fishing for. Like those two games are something that.
Yeah. If you went and looked at like my uptime, those were probably some of my most streamed games.
Yeah.
Not necessarily my favorites, but my most streamed.
Yeah. I know that like when I found you the first time, it was RimWorld. It was through the RimWorld community. I haven't played myself very much, but I have like 4,000 hours watching FG play it. So and you and others. All right.
It's a good game, but like
It is a good game.
I don't know, waiting for the next DLC now.
True. It's been out there a while. All right, Jess. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. I think this
thank you for having me.
It was very interesting to listen to about your like connecting the mental health a little bit more, because that's also a part of this podcast to connect the exercise part to other parts in life like diet and mental health and so on, because it's a very important connection. So yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jess. I'll talk to you.
Thank you. This was nice.
I talk to you later at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Very good. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of ActiveCast. If you want to know more about the topics we talked about, don't be shy to post a comment on our YouTube channel. You can also send your questions directly to ActiveCast through Twitter or mail to activecastpod@gmail.com. You find links and addresses in the show notes and in the description of the episode on YouTube. I would appreciate it a lot if you like, rate, and review the podcast wherever you listen to it. You can also subscribe and interact on our YouTube channel. It helps the podcast a lot to be able to reach a new and wider audience. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 2 weeks.